If you have a morbid interest in cool pool fights, Germany is the place to go right now. This weekend in Düsseldorf, a family father asked a number of teenagers to stop jumping in the pool from the sides over those swimmers who just do their lanes. And of course, this ended in altercation, both physical and verbal. When the police arrived, they asked straight for more colleagues because those other visitors in the pool showed great solidarity with the situation and they sided with the youth. Why that is will be explored in a second, but the situation was then that the police used pepper spray to separate the father and his family from those hundreds of people gathering to support the youth and their right to harass those swimmers. Ultimately, it was the family, not the teenagers, that was asked to leave the pool. And this is basically the general situation or it speaks for the larger picture of the political situation in Germany right now. However, the pool then shut down for the rest of the day, so the other visitors also had nothing of the day. And the commercial damage is probably huge. But also in the city of Mannheim, there was a fight on this weekend. A man sprayed pepper spray on his own brothers-in-law. He hurt 5 people, among which there were 2 children. So 3 of his wife's brothers and his own children had been pepper sprayed because of an unknown conflict of the past. The police is investigating against a 38-year-old man because of dangerous bodily harm. Dangerous bodily harm just means that a weapon was used in an attack. In this case, that was pepper spray. Also, this week, a group of 8 men attacked the pool attendants in the city of Essen. 8 men ganged up on 2 pool attendants and beat them. In the state of Hesse, a fight escalated when the pool did not open, and so the 200 men, or 200 people, forcefully made their way into the pool. In the pool Michaelibad in the city of München in Bavaria, another 50 people were involved in a mass brawl. Then there was a fight in the city, or rather the town of Haltana, and that was around a fries and sausages booth. Chairs and trash bins were used as weapons. And in the pool Grünhöfe in the city of Bremerhaven, a 13-year-old got his nose beaten bloody by 5 youth. Now that does not sound like a mass brawl, but witnesses speak of 50 people amassing around the situation, and it looks like they were rather thrilled and encouraging the fight rather than stopping it. So a 13-year-old got wounded by a gang of 5-year-old youth, while 50 people cheered it on. So why is that? Of course, none of these police statements openly say who the people involved are. Are they maybe some Christians, or are they some evil Jews, or are they some atheists? Are they some maybe Swedish people? Are they some... You get the idea. It could be anything. Maybe these young youth are all transgender women. Who knows? But between the lines, you can read that we are speaking about the outpours of the Muslim culture. And these are situations that reflect some experience that every one of us who lives in Europe or the Middle East has experienced at some point in his life. And that is that there are many Muslims, not all, but many Muslims who are so savage that the following situation will always ensue. You criticize them for a legitimate reason, and they take every criticism as an attack. So instead of looking into your criticism, finding a solution, meeting the differences of interest by fulfilling the needs of all participants the best way possible, as it would be, the Western idea, they rather feel attacked and insulted, and they go to mommy, quite literally. And mommy can sometimes be all cousins plus everybody who speaks the same language. Sometimes everybody who is also a Muslim. So they gang up with whatever group they can find. Usually it starts from the family unit and goes on to a tribal unit over to some other larger entities, because they cannot really deal with conflicts, and so it all gets violent very quickly. And this is also what plays out on the larger geopolitical scheme. When Muslims fight each other, they will always find somebody else to blame, because they cannot cross intellectually. I mean, I'm not speaking about every Muslim, obviously, but I don't want to make this disclaimer between every sentence. But they cannot cross the idea that only because they belong to the same group, it does not make their differences in interest go away naturally. You have a lot of clip talk from Muslims where they say, "Oh, let's just cuddle each other because you're also, you're Kurdish, I'm Turkish, this guy is Arabic. Why are we fighting?" The dissent is put upon us by those evil Jews. I cannot imagine that we all who believe in Allah have some issues with one another. So it must be some dark power being the reason for it all, and that usually is the Jews or America being led by the Jews. So this is what plays out in these pools. You criticize one person, you get a chair rammed against you by his brother, his cousin, and sometimes you have these inner family feuds because you're unhappy with who is married with whom. So this guy with the pepper spray probably retaliated some former altercation with his brothers-in-law who didn't accept him in the family. As a member of the family, and it just goes on and on and on. And why is it not mentioned in one single police report and in one single media report? Because the left has to cover it all up. We all know these are the major geopolitical drivers, and we also know that this happens in the small scheme around us. And as I say, everybody who lives in Europe, who is grown up, or in the Middle East, has experienced something similar. I did. And the solution is the same as with most things. We must talk about these cultural differences and explain Muslims where they are worse than us, so that they can improve themselves. I guess that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.